Welcome back, friends, to Let's Play some Final Fantasy XIV, where today we're taking on the Sunken Temple of Qarn. Is actually one like what we haven't seen yet before, and not a single dungeon in the game as of yet is like this one, because this one contains some minor puzzle elements to it, which both makes it awesome in that it's somewhat unique, but at the same time, because the answers and whatever never ever change, it can get kind of a little bit boring. When this ends up in roulette and you keep having to do it over and over and over again. And of course someone disconnects right at the start of the dungeon. So this warden over here, even though we're not going to look at it, actually has a clue to one of the answers to one of the puzzles. But anyway, again, we're not going to concern ourselves with the warden because, as I said, we already know the answers to the puzzles. So there's really no need. So the first thing of real note in here is these pedestals, which have various little glyphs with little symbols on it. We'll pick this up in just a sec with the once we take care of this trash. But yeah, as you can see, it's called the Helm of Might. And if we look at it up closer, we can actually see there's a helmet-looking thing on there. Attention to detail. So our little DPS friend here is going to pick up the helmet. Okay, so a brand new DPS later, we can finally continue on. Now these temple bees are a little pain in the butt, as my macro goes off repeatedly, because if you don't kill them within a certain amount of time, they do a move called Final Sting, which obviously is a pretty hefty damage to obviously the person who's taking it. I believe it's proportional to how much HP they have left, but I'm not 100% sure about that, but it can hurt a lot. Stop hitting my macro, game. Now this little Qarn farcer here, he's going to show up several times throughout the dungeon. He's going to flee after a little bit of time. You want to damage him as much as you can every time he shows up, because he will drop a treasure chest. That treasure chest is actually the fourth chest in the dungeon. It's the second boss actually does not drop two. You have like 2 or 3 opportunities to kill it though, so you have a little bit of time. And look, more bees! Oh, come on! I wasn't even that close. That's okay, we'll live. Actually, I don't think these beasts do as much damage anymore, because I totally forgot they nerfed them. Because I don't really do this dungeon all that much, so. But yeah, like way back in the day, like they were like tank killers. killers. And as you can see over here, we have a new little guild, the Gem of Affluence. See, there's a little diamond-y looking thing on it. Let's go ahead and take that. Not sure why we're trying to pull switcheroo on that, because we don't know if this place is booby-trapped. And apparently my protect missed in the first time. That's okay. Alright, so here be our first boss. Who's, rather creepy looking, to be honest. And he kills a lot of people. Mainly because, there's a bunch of people who don't quite understand his gimmick. Which will show up eventually. And to compound things, these little, dudes, and I forgot I don't have mouse for two yet, these other little bees show up, and they're identical to the other killer bees. They have final sting, so killing them, pretty quickly is totally the right thing to do. There we go. So eventually he's going to cast a move called Mortal Ray, which inflicts doom upon you, after which one of these tiles will start glowing for a couple seconds, and it will randomly move to other tiles. And the only way to get rid of this doom status is to step on one of these tiles when it's glowing before the timer runs out. And yes, it can be a pain in the ass that as soon as you step on it, some other one, it changes to some other color, like it did just now, and you have to walk all the way across the room. This gets a lot of people killed. So it's basically you need to constantly be paying attention to what tile is glowing, how much time you have left, and the bees. I don't think there's a specific pattern to what tiles glow. That's what I know of. You just gotta be aware. But once you get that part narrowed down, he's relatively easy. But yeah, he just can kill people who don't pay attention to the doom counter. And the bees, before they were nerfed, were actually kind of tough to deal with while you were dealing with this thing, so it wiped a lot of parties, and people hate this place because of it. But nowadays, it's not quite so bad. Dungeon got caught up in this bee stuff. At least we got something new. Mr. Deathclaw. Despite the name, there's nothing really insanely deadly about them, so yeah. Your name, sir, is a lie. So our next little puzzle comes in the form of these other giant heads. And as you can see, we have another little glowing platform on that. We need to kill this thing on this platform in order to open that door. And yes, this can be a pain in the butt trying to get this guy on here. If you don't successfully get him on, you're screwed. No, actually you're not. He just basically shakes it off, and a couple seconds later he respawns, and you gotta do the whole thing over again. So yeah, it can be a little bit tricksy to get him on the right spot. And of course we're attacked immediately by two more, who have their own other little platforms. Now obviously which one goes on which platform matters absolutely not. Stays open two other little side rooms with more treasure. In this case we have the Fruit of Knowledge, which is like a strawberry raspberry looking kind of thing. skeletons with daggers. Now on the other side over here, if you can see it, we have the Flame of Magic. It's just a little thing that looks like a little fireball. So we have this other little area right here, but unfortunately we can't get to that right now. So we gotta go all the way around with more deadly praying mantises. Now if you didn't kill that other, the little wandering face guy the first time, and a lot of people actually don't, he appears and sneaks up on you right around the corner here, so. So around the corner we go. Into what I assume is kind of like the basement of this place. All of a sudden got very creepy down here. Now there is that little thing in the corner. You can't skip him if you're a little bit careful and you stay out of his sight. I'm not sure if we're going to succeed in doing that. Nope. That's why I was hiding through here. Now, boss number 2 over here is actually really annoying. So some of this is probably going to be fast forwarded and or cut out. Basically, he's like a miniature Titan sort of thing, with the soul stone kind of functioning as his heart. You can't really damage the Guardian himself if the soul stone has not been destroyed. But unfortunately, the thing has a decent amount of health, so it's not like it's going to die in like 5 seconds kind of thing. Eventually, once we destroy the soul stone, you can see in my focus striker thing, he doesn't have that vulnerability down anymore. But what's going to happen is eventually he's going to summon it again, and you basically have to lather, rinse, repeat throughout this whole fight. Now you can keep him stun locked a little bit to keep him from summoning the soul stone, but eventually he's going to do it anyway because he'll become immune to stuns. Now at this point, once he summons it the second time, he's going to ignore all aggro. So the tank does not need to hold on him, he's just going to go run around the room absolutely randomly, just smacking people. So he's just going to go where the hell he wants, and he's going to do stuff like this, and yeah, massive like AoEs in front of him. You don't want to get hit by any of this crap, well except the stuff you obviously can't avoid. Once we destroy the soul stone again, it's absolutely lather, rinse, repeat until the end. There's no difference. It just takes forever to knock this guy's health down because he's got an invulnerability period of sorts. We done it. Okay, he's not really that hard, he's just annoying. So we get more giant spiders all up in here. Just my favorite. So yeah, the basement detour. And into the jaws of more killer mantises. Just what I was going to do. But now, I don't know if you can tell, but now we're on the other side. Of that lovely wall that way across is where we went down to the basement. And so we just basically, you know, turn completely around. So now we get another one of these annoying hits, but this time we have a creepy looking crocodile to contend with on top of that. So these two little doors on the side are actually optional. You see they have little symbols above them, and you have the option of putting one of the gifts there. And if you put the one that matches, the vault door opens. If you put one that doesn't match, you get a bunch of monsters, after which I think the door does still open, but this way you get the treasure without having to do any work. And I need to actually step in there to get the map. Because this is actually one of the hardest dungeons to map, because a lot of people don't know about some of the treasure stuff. Whee! Fun, fun, fun! Now most of this is crap, but people like to do it anyway, because it's fun. It's the only kind of dungeon like this where we get to do anything like this, so. So now we get to do the same thing all over again! My tank actually pulled ahead without me when we were trying to open the doors. But whatever. I can always go back later. So in the background right there, you can kind of see the scales of judgment. And that is the clue that the warden is referring to. You want to put the flame of magic on the left and the fruit of knowledge on the right. And weigh the scales, and if you do it right, the secret passage to the left opens up, and that's actually the last portion on the map that a lot of people miss. Somebody was looting that treasure. There's regular equipment and crafting equipment in there. And I will go back and finish off that map in a second, because like I said, I can go back and finish up my own cord before I leave the dungeon. Those are the other two side vaults there. So this boss is a complete joke. And his challenge, and I say that word very lightly, his quirks, I guess I should say, come not in how much HP he has, but all this other stuff. Namely, this little head here, which, as before, you need to kill him on one of these platforms, otherwise he's just going to keep respawning over and over and over and over and over again. I'm not sure if we have to place one on all three or not. It's been a very long time since I've done this dungeon, but it's very easy for one of the DPS to take care of. They don't do that much damage themselves, so it's not a huge deal whatsoever. But then you have these, I don't know, they remind me of Onks, but I know that's not what they are. But they shoot laser beams! But they die relatively quickly. so you don't need to worry about that. And I accidentally cleric stance that one, but whatever. Okay, they shouldn't be like disappearing before our eyes. But basically, eventually what's going to happen is they're going to be walled off. And kind of sealed inside. And in order to do full damage to this thing, to destroy it, you need to be actually inside it. Otherwise your damage is cut down if you're not sealed inside there with it. Still destroyed easily, but you don't want these lasers floating around everywhere on you. Eventually there's just going to be more and more. I think 4 is the limit of what it gets summoned here. But yeah, only a few hits to destroy. No big deal. Nothing special. Easy peasy. So yeah, I kind of like the puzzle elements they added to this just a little bit because it adds sort of a different flavor. But since the solution is always the same, which is probably as lame as it is, probably for the best, because if everyone had to search for clues every time, everybody would hate this dungeon and nobody would want to do it. And that kind of sucks, so you don't want people, like, quitting the dungeon, like, right from the get-go. It's like, oh, I actually have to put some effort into this one. So yeah, interesting thought, but gotta fill out the map here. I gotta go in that other side room, too. Oh, and we never actually opened this one. Yeah, we can't put the fruit on there, so I can't do it because it's on the scales. Poopy. I don't know if yeah, and I can't take it off. That stinks. Oh well. No, mapping achievement for me. I can at least fill this part out. Yay! So I can't remember what we had to get in here. Some kind of ward crystal or something along those lines or something. But whatever, we don't even have to spare no effort, you know, the exit door is like, oh, here, this is what you're looking for, here, you can have it now. Yay! Wardstone, okay, yeah. I knew it was something like that. Just one of those, you know, random BS things to be like, oh, I need, you know, this, MacGuffin of awesomeness. But we're gonna have to actually, no, actually, since I'm right here, I was actually gonna do this beforehand. While I was waiting for that duty to pop, I ended up finishing off the last entry in my, my Grand Company hunting log. So I can take the next promotion and get the final entry. Well, final 10 entries, what I should say. And now I can actually transfer between the other Grand Companies. I don't get to take my seals or rank or anything with me, but you can if you want. Functionally, they're all identical. They all have their own hunting log entries and their own things to buy. Like, their equipment is... the stats are the same, but they look different and whatnot. I'm not going to be switching Grand Companies because I'm not going after the achievements and stuff in here. But yeah, just a quick look at some of the entries in here. Like, we have the stuff we had a couple episodes ago in the Wanderer's Palace are on here, so yeah. these are otherwise like level 48, 49, and like 50 monsters and whatnot. So that's gonna be all for this episode. Next time we'll return to Revenant's Toll and yeah, and continue building our new HQ and maybe have a housewarming party or something. Maybe a little too soon for that, but still some details to work out. But thank you for watching, friends.